Welcome back to the Seventh Grade Mustache. On today's episode, we'll be speaking about cinema, movies, the movies that made us. Movies are very special because it is a experience that you have with groups of people. You've had this experience maybe in a theater at the cinema with a bunch of strangers. You might have had it with your friends sitting around in a basement watching something on DVD or VHS or whatever medium you're watching it on. Watching movies with your family is a trip. Me, as a child, I watched movies with my dad a lot. And that was how my taste for cinema evolved. Me and my dad would watch all kind of stuff. We would watch blaxploitation movies. We would watch crime movies, a gang of military movies because he was a lifetime soldier. We would watch martial arts movies. He wasn't into horror films, so I had to watch a lot of horror on my own. But really, me and Duct Tape were raised on cable television, truth be told.
Oh yeah. I dig it. Hey, you remember the time it was like Inframan? My mom took us to like it was like Gemini Cinema over on 90th, and it's like we wouldn't see this was this is before you had anime, but you always had this Japanese invasion. I shouldn't say like you had like bits and pieces of the anime and the beginnings of anime, like Voltron and shit like that.
Anime, the grandfather to anime is tokusatsu. The way it works is it was the Godzilla movies that paved the way for anime, even though manga comics go back further than that. But it was so it was definitely
even
like
with that, you still had Voltron, you had these little imports.
Yes,
but
here's the thing though: a guy in a dinosaur suit is the whole reason that there are Power Rangers today.
Dude, see, you knew where I was going with that. Like I remember watching Inframan, and we had watched this movie, and poor dubbing. But that's where Power Rangers came from. You watch this movie, you see all the monsters are the same as Power Rangers. And that was like 20 years before that. I remember, several movies that like changed your life. But when a movie fucks with you, I can tell you what medium it was on. I can tell you when I watched it. I can't remember all the year and shit, but I remember the first time I saw the first Superman. I saw the first Superman was on VHS at my mom's best friend's house. And I'm a kid, and I'm like, because the only time we saw VCRs,
they had a movie that they wanted to put on to keep your little ass occupied while they were in the kitchen sipping wine.
See, you grew up. Let me tell you, Roscoe had 19 VCRs.
Damn Skippy.
His dad had VHS, Beta. See, I didn't get a VCR.
Hold on. My dad had a dresser drawer. Not dresser drawer, but in a dresser. All of the shelves were Betamax and VHS. And what my dad would do, he would record Nebraska Cornhusker football games because they were the fucking shit back then. He would record all those football games, and he would have those, and everything else was Miami Vice, or it was all the A-Team, or Knight Rider, and all these 80s shows. And my pops, he would just record like all this. He would record stuff off HBO. He would record stuff off of whatever was on cable that he liked. He recorded it. He was like, "Shit, I got my own movie projector now. I can just keep this cranking." And he did. We had a massive collection of movies.
These kids don't understand what it was to use a LP or a super long play.
So hold on. But here's the thing. Hours. Yeah, see, you said LP, and like people's heads first went to vinyl, but no, we're talking about VCRs. But check this out. At that time in history, you could go see a brand new movie in the cinema, or you could wait 8 months to a year for it to come on home video. So this was the beginnings of home video. People were all about going to the video store on the weekends. Dude, going into a video store was the combination of being in an art gallery / library / toy store. It was all of those things. And it was also a social interaction experiment because you had all these things going on.
You couldn't get a phone number from a girl at a VHS store or a Captain Video. We had Captain Video here.
And applause video.
Applause video. If you couldn't get a girl's phone number there, I don't know what to tell you, son.
Yeah, he was lame. He was lame as shit. You couldn't get a number at a damn video store. But look, this is what I'm saying though. There was so much going on. You could walk into a video rental place and I would stare at the boxes. I would stare at the covers because basically what it was the movie poster. and then it had the little liner notes on the back. So it's like looking at an album or looking at a CD and reading the liner notes. And fucking Blockbuster Video, those motherfuckers, they would get you 8 out of 10 times. You see a dope cover, and you're like, "Oh, this movie looks like the shit." You get that shit home, it is stir fried dog shit. It's terrible.
Hey, okay. So, where did you see Star Wars the first time? Where did you see Star Wars at? Did you see Star Wars in the theater? Because I know
No,
the
no,
answer.
no, no.
Did you see Star Wars on?
Star Wars came out. We were like too fucking young to even see it.
I know that, but I said the first time you saw Star Wars,
The-
was
uh,
it on a VHS? Was it on cable?
Okay, I'll tell you like this. The first time I saw Star Wars, this was the problem. I would see Star Wars memorabilia and toys everywhere.
Mhm,
J.C.
mhm,
Penney
mhm.
had a Christmas catalog that they would come out with, and it would have these dope like diorama layouts of it's some you could tell
Play
like
set.
some it was an
They're
art
called play
designer
set.
spilled like a bunch of sand over the floor to like create Tatooine in the studio, and they put the Jawas in there and Obi-Wan Kenobi and Luke Skywalker, and I'm looking at this shit and I'm like, man, I got the biggest brain boner looking at this shit as a little kid, like, man, this is so fucking cool because at that point your mind is so impressionable. And so
Malleable. You can
but the
form it.
cool thing is we were being impressed upon by these toy manufacturers who would hire people to create a recreate a scene in a studio to photograph it. And it was the greatest selling tool for so many toy lines was a Christmas catalog from Spiegel or just if you lived in Midwest you knew
Or
what Spiegel
Macy's.
was or
Macy's. Yeah.
Macy's or J.C. Penney or Sears. And man, you would see those toys in there like, I want all of that shit. And then what you would do is you would take those toys when you got them for Christmas and you would take them outside and play outside and use the topography of your area to like recreate scenes or recreate mountains or deserts or all this crazy shit. But we mentioned toys and we mentioned all these catalogs and everything because these are based off of movies. So to answer your question, Duct Tape, the first place I saw Star Wars was on TV. They were showing Star Wars.
HBO? Was it HBO? Or was it
It was on. I think it was on regular television or maybe one of like TBS or something. But they showed Star Wars on TV. Then I saw Empire Strikes Back in
yes.
the theater. When I saw
Yes,
Empire
yes.
Strikes Back in the theater, head exploded because number one, this is the greatest Star Wars movie. I don't care if you people agree with me or not. It's the
No.
greatest Star Wars movie. We're not gonna go there. We're not gonna go there right now. But what I want to say though. You had Space Pimp, Lando Calrissian up in there. You know what I'm saying?
Good hair, don't care. Good
You
hair, don't
had
care.
gangster ass
45.
Boba Fett. Okay, he was putting motherfuckers into like bricks. He was people who put like freezing them and putting them in bricks and like
Don't
sticking
leave,
them
you
in his van and dipping out. So look,
that's not. Hold it.
just hold on. No.
Hold
Hold on. There's so much there. This movie, what it did to me as a little boy. When I was sitting in the theater and I'm watching the Millennium Falcon fly through Cloud City and the sun is setting and it's orange and it's purple and I'm seeing all these deep, creamy, vibrant, saturated colors and then you got special effects and spaceships on top of that, my mind is there.
Creamsicle orange on. Remember the Cloud City? Their fighters had that creamsicle orange.
Yes.
It was just. But hold it. The most important part of that movie was Luke. I am your father.
For sure.
And I'm like, so the homeboy come home and tell me about the movie. He said, man, he goes, Darth Vader is Luke's father. No, he's not. You're lying. I almost cried. So I'm like, Mom, I want to go see Luke Strikes Back.
So for little black kids who have daddy situations, when you see this movie, some people connect on that level because some of these kids were meeting their dad for the first time around when they saw The Empire Strikes Back. And
that's true.
You might little boy might been at it, chilling, playing with his toys, and some man come knock on the door, and that motherfucker might as well be Darth Vader. Oh, I am your father. Like, you know what I mean? Like he might as well be Darth Vader rolling up to him. I am your daddy, because that's how much of a head crack that it was. It was
a huge mind
in
fuck.
The Empire Strikes
that
Back.
That was a. I remember the funniest thing. You had told a joke about it one time. You said it was somebody else's joke. He was like, it's like playing with that molester uncle. Like, yeah, I was happy to see him, but all of a sudden my butt hurts. It's like you
Right.
just
Right. You're
you just couldn't
betrayed.
conceive that you trust these people. Darth Vader's the bad guy. Luke Skywalker's a good guy, and you just knew he was going to marry Leia. Wink, wink. Everybody forgets like him and Leia was a love interest. Then you find out they're
That
two
was a
movies later
sister.
they're sisters.
Motherfucker, you was kissing your sister?
And everybody acts like that scene never happened. There was a scene where they was about to kiss, and all of a sudden it didn't.
The only reason people glossed over that shit because there was so much more cool shit going on in those movies that you're like, you know what? I don't care. I don't care. This guy, this little green frog with a dirty robe on, can levitate a X-wing fighter up out of a swamp and get it working again.
Yoda was gangs.
Yoda went so hard and still goes so hard to this day.
To this day. To this day. So hold it. So like I was saying, the first time I saw Star Wars, I had a homeboy who my mom worked with his aunt. So I spent the night. His aunt busts out the Betamax and puts it in, and we watch it. And I'm like, I said it was just an incredible.
You're like, what am I looking at? Like what
sensory overload? You know what I'm saying? And fast forward, Return of the Jedi, same thing. Now we both saw. We didn't see it together, but we saw
Empire
Strikes Back, Return of the Jedi in the theater. The next movie that I didn't see in the theater, but I saw much later, you saw in the theater, and again, the homeboy comes to me, man, you know, Optimus Prime dies in the movie. No, it's a movie.
Oh man, listen.
I'm like,
I was so angry about that because they replaced him with pussy ass Rodimus Prime. And then you could see what happened though. Yeah.
You was like, Rand, I've never cried during a movie. Like, what happened? What are you talking about? We were kids. I remember you in my driveway.
I cried when Optimus Prime died.
And he was like, hey man, I cried when Optimus Prime died. Who died? My voice got all high. Who died? So I didn't, because of that, I couldn't go see it. I had to wait. Because I'm like, I'm not going in there crying. I ain't going to be crying. Ain't about to make a fool out of me, motherfucker. So, again, but that's the power of movies.
But see, hold on. But see, okay. And then you watch the show as a child. And because Optimus Prime goes so hard and because that wound stung so bad for so long, they had to bring him back. They had to bring Optimus back because nobody want to watch this goofy ass RV motherfucker with like you know chrome pipes coming out the motherfucker and flames on it. Nobody want to watch that shit. Bring back the fucking red and blue semi that transforms and can do some dope ass shit and fight the gun Megatron. Megatron is a gun. He's not a tank.
His voice. He was all about goodness and right in same with James Earl Jones.
Yeah.
So, yeah, this voice is like it's so powerful.
But hold up.
I think
you gotta pause because leave it on James Earl Jones for a second. Thulsa Doom is the outside of Darth Vader. He is the coldest villain in cinema. Challenge me. Anybody challenge me.
Super underrated. See the whole thing. There was something in there where he talks about where Conan gets to him. He climbs, he scales a wall, he gets to him, and he's like, "You killed my mother and my father." Man, shit. You know what? Back then I was in the steel. I'm in the flesh now. Fuck it. That's the old me. You need to go kill the old me. The fuck with me
he
now.
Made
the
bitch jump to her death. He said,
"Just to show.
Come to me, my child. Come to me." The bitch jumped. And she didn't land on some rocks. She didn't land in water. She landed on some hard ass wooden planks and busted them shits. And I'm like, damn, that's a graphic image.
It's not just cinema. I mean, cinema is such a powerful thing. We get it when it comes to politics and other shit. But the thing is, you're immersed.
It's make believe. It is make believe on steroids, and it takes your brain, your mind to another place.
Like I can see it, I can hear it. But sometimes I can smell the picture too, because sometimes that popcorn takes you back there.
Okay.
Or
all right, hold on. Let me say something real quick. Nothing beats the feeling of coming out of the movie theater and the movie was great. As soon as you come out of that dark room back into the light, you feel like you have just returned from another dimension.
Hey, how about this? Even leading up to the movie, there was a movie one time that me and you saw together. We snuck in that movie and watched that movie for free,
Talking about the
and I
Lion
felt
King.
guilty. hey, hey, I felt guilty not because we snuck in. I felt guilty because it was so good, and I'm like, damn, I don't pay for a bunch of movies that weren't shit, and this motherfucker right here. And I remember we were at South Roads, and everybody's in line trying to get in this movie, and we walk in front of them and just walk right in.
Yeah,
we
like
jumped the line and walked right in.
straight dickhead Bogart VIP move. Like, watch out, move. We got this. And
And
nobody said anything. Nobody questioned anything. Just like there was a line, and then we were in the theater. That was it.
that's how we do it. And so that was always a problem with us being together. We would do some shit. We believed in each other so much.
Diabolical shit.
But I remember busting into the Lion King, and the best scene in the whole movie was when Rafiki started kicking ass. I'm like, because again, we love fight scenes. I love fight scenes, and so I remember Rafiki kicking ass. Another movie. I'm gonna throw a movie out there because you got two movies, same director. Thing, the original with Kurt.
All right,
Kurt Russell.
all right. We going to John Carpenter
hold
land now.
Hold it. Let me say the next one. It was it. What They Live.
Come on, man. Come on, man.
That movie on so many levels. One, it's a testament to Illuminati. It's a testament.
I did not see that movie in the theater. I saw it on cable.
No.
Oh no, I saw it on VHS.
Hold it. It blew my mind with commercials. Even with the commercials, it blew my mind.
The commercials
to the point where I wanted to watch it without commercials.
Correct. This
so
movie.
You want to see without commercials.
This movie for two kids that grew up on MTV and the greatest cartoons ever made and some of the best movies ever made. When this movie came along, this was the Matrix before the Matrix.
Yeah, dude. Preach.
They Live has the greatest non-martial arts fight scene in any movie.
I argue that. I have it above. It's above some martial arts fight scenes. It was such a real fight scene.
Oh,
Keith David, Roddy Piper. Oh my God.
But see, okay, the reason why it was dope, it was choreographed by martial artist Jeff Imada, who choreographed the fight scenes for another John Carpenter movie, Big Trouble in Little China. Choreographed that movie. Now, but coming back to They Live, we got to park you there for a second because John Carpenter did something to your brain watching this movie. He revealed something that exists in society. So this movie's about these aliens that are controlling society through capitalism and through the government bodies, of America. But if you superimpose secret societies over the aliens, you have the world that we live in now. For real. This movie is a metaphor for our everyday life that we have.
For so many different things.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. But see, it's funny because that's my interpretation. Because when you talk to John Carpenter, he says it was all about capitalism, which is true.
Yeah.
But that capitalism has a history and it's rooted in things like the East India Trading Company. But secret societies transposed over the aliens, you got our world. This movie was so deep because it was a metaphor for the underground resistance on so many levels, whether you're just a guy reading books, talking to somebody, or some dude in a jail cell putting a bunch of brothers onto some knowledge, or you're a person throwing Molotov cocktails at a police station.
But hold it. Even the acting of Roddy Piper, I can't tell you if he's acting tonight.
His best.
Because, that's some superb acting.
You're okay.
You're
real fucking ugly.
Look, even with the fight scene, first things first, Roddy was huge right then. Keith David was huge, physically huge. And so for when they fought, it felt like a real fight.
Yeah.
Even at the end of the fight, when he forced Keith David to put the goggles on, Keith, I don't want to know this shit. I don't need to know this shit.
That was a metaphor for people that that do not want to wake up. People that don't want to be conscious of the manipulation that's happening to everybody. That's who that person was. That's who he represented. That person has to be dragged, kicking and screaming into awakening.
Into knowledge. Knowledge is bitter. Here, Okay, first things first. You brought up Big Trouble in Little China, so
Come
we got
on.
to talk about
Come
that.
on.
Jack Burton.
Jack Burton,
uh,
son of a bitch, must pay.
what people don't understand, sometimes movies are fantastic. They make no
Oh, hold
sense.
on, hold on. I want to say something. If you don't like this movie, you lame, man. Go ahead.
um, the thing is, it doesn't have to be real. Nowadays, we get so wrapped up on realism. But the thing was, the movies we grew up on were better produced and had more realism in them. The situation may be completely fictitious or may never happen or whatever, but that movie was put together and filmed so
The
well and it
exposition.
performed and made sense.
The exposition.
Perfect. Was amazing. And so you got this movie where you got this truck driver who's just a super macho dick, but when forced to save the day, he goes all the fucking way.
All the
Goes
way.
out.
And because his homeboy asked him, he was like, "Hey man,
that's all it took.
That's all it took." First of all, he got principle. This dude he's a stand-up character. You know, you may not like him. He may come off like a cheesehead. That's fine. But this motherfucker is like ready to blast people for his homeboy to get his girl back. You know what I mean? This cat is taking it to the limit.
Hold it. The thing about Kurt, see the problem with a lot of actors, and I try to tell people like, you don't like that guy, like he's not that good an actor. They get mad at you when you criticize Will Smith because he's the same character. Woody Harrelson was the same character in a lot of movies for a long time until he started acting.
But Jack Burton was completely unlike any character that Kurt Russell had played.
That was
before.
my point. But Kurt Russell played like Snake Plissken, completely different characters. Different voices, different. They had the same kind of attitude and objective and machismo where, you know what, it's possible odds, but fuck it, it's
Jack
weekend.
Burton was a fucking idiot. He was cool at some shit and he was complete jackass at other things.
Oh, he was dumb, but it never stopped him from being successful. Now let's talk about Escape from New York.
Oh man, so you're going backwards. Okay, hold on. I gotta stop you right here, man, because before we go any further, what I want to do is I want to salute and give respect for two filmmakers that have had a massive, massive effect on my creative mind. Not from the type of movies that I make. I mean, yes, they do, but I mean just simply from the creative standpoint. Because what I want to say is, when I would watch Big Trouble in Little China, when I would watch John Carpenter movies, when I would watch They Live, when I would watch these movies, it had such a massive effect on me because, number one, the imagery, the cinematography was absolutely gorgeous. And there was just so much to take in when you would watch these movies. So let me real quick just run down the films of John Carpenter. Dark Star, Assault on Precinct 13, Halloween, The Fog, Escape from New York, The Thing, Christine, Starman, Big Trouble in Little China, The Prince of Darkness, They Live, In the Mouth of Madness, Village of the Damned, Escape from L.A., Vampires, Ghost of Mars, and The Ward. Yeah, man. Massive.
All good movies.
Classic movies. Halloween.
People think that if a movie gets an award, it means it's good.
Yeah, fuck all that.
Here's my thing.
That snobs think like that. People who can't make movies are critics of movies.
How many times have they had the Oscars? Then 5 years later, you got 4 or 5 movies nominated. The movie wins, but 5 or 4 years later, we all look back like that other movie should have won because that other movie had lasting power. If you're able to watch a movie multiple times, and I'm gonna give you 2 or 3 movies right off the top of my head, I can watch any day of the week. Usual Suspects.
Oh.
Blazing Saddles.
Come on.
Blazing Saddles. Damn it. There was another one on the tip of my. These movies. I got another movie for you. It's a yearly movie, A Christmas Story. That movie should get. You're laughing, but look at how well of a story, how well it was shot,
yes.
how
the narration.
The narration was flawless. That movie should get an Oscar because that movie still impacts people to this day. Like every Christmas when they have like they showed all day on the marathon on PBS. Mm-hmm. I watch that motherfucker.
Yes,
you know
I'll have it on in the background
all day.
All day. I don't care. All day. And somebody might ask you like, Have you been watching this all day? Yes. Yes, I have.
Hey, it's look at that. It's from Fragile. Yeah, it's
Yeah,
Fragile. It's foreign. No,
that's
it's fragile.
Italian,
No,
right?
it's Fragile. Yeah,
Virginia. That's
Italian.
Italian.
Or they have a kid fight nowadays. You could not put a kid fight in anything. The
No.
kid beats up the bully. You
Bloody
can't have a
nose. He
kid
gives
fight
him a
anymore.
bloody ass nose.
And then his mom comes against him and he's cussing. That perfect movie. Usual Suspects. I get it. Sometimes Bryan Singer's a good guy. Sometimes he's a bad guy. But that movie right there,
Oh.
I watch
That
that movie like
movie
twice a month.
flips
Kaiser
it on you.
Soze had
Kaiser Soze. So many hip hop songs and so many street
Kaiser
dudes
Soze.
were about Kaiser Soze living that double life. But before we go further, I want to give respect, rest in peace, to Tony Scott. Tony Scott created a huge chunk of the look of the 80s. I'm going to name these movies and you're going to know exactly what the hell I'm talking about. The Hunger with David Bowie. Top Gun. Beverly Hills Cop 2. Revenge. Days of Thunder. The Last Boy Scout. True Romance. That one right there, man, that was a motherfucker. Crimson Tide. The Fan. Enemy of the State.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. Man on Fire.
Excellent.
Another
the
one.
first one or the second one?
There's only one.
First one. That's
There's
the first
only
one.
one. Spy Game. Brad Pitt and Robert Redford.
There's two men on fire. It was the one that was
Oh,
Christopher
my bad.
Walken
You're right. You're right.
Denzel.
No. It wasn't Christopher Walken. Christopher Walken was in the one with Denzel. The one you're talking about has.
No.
Wait.
Original,
The original is has Scott Glenn, which is the white dude from that samurai movie called The Challenge. Do you remember The Challenge? You used to always see it at video stores. It would show this like futuristic Japanese looking castle and had this white dude with a fucking samurai sword, and in the blade, the reflection of the blade, you could see like dudes running at him.
That's dope. that would have got me. I would have bought that.
So that's the original Man on Fire. The crazy part is the Denzel movie is way better than the original. It's so good. It's in my top 5. It's in my top
Easy.
5. Man, that movie goes so hard because you've never seen a black man turn into a killer machine and eliminate everything and make an art out of it.
Here's the deal. Like, now we're going to get to the black.
Hold on. Not done with Tony Scott, because after here we go. So you had Enemy of the State, which is 1998, and then 2001 he had Spy Game. Spy Game, I enjoyed that movie a lot because it's a great looking film visually, but it has military and CIA elements about it. So it shows about like espionage and how there was an old school way of spying versus the new school way of spying. And it talked about how the spies from the Cold War were actually getting their feet dirty in the field, whereas now it's a bunch of dudes sitting behind desks making decisions while maybe there might be one or two guys out in the field doing most of the work. But that was Spy Game got overshadowed because that was the year September 11th happened. It came out right before September 11th, like in July, so it's kind of hard to like really let it sink in as far as like memory concerned, because September 11th wiped so much stuff from people's mind. So after 2001, he did Man on Fire 2004, and that movie is a masterpiece because there's just so much going on. Like, it shows the grime and the grit of Mexico City and the whole industry related to kidnapping. But then, like, Paul Cameron is a top tier cinematographer, so he's like using hand cranked cameras in 35 millimeter and like 16 millimeter to show like these strange ghosting stroboscopic images that is in the world of Creasy. And see, you see Creasy as this soldier who's tortured for all these assassinations that he did for the CIA. So he's a drunk. And then when this little white girl comes along that he has to protect her, he has purpose again. And then when she gets kidnapped,
gives him life again.
They take that happiness away, and you kiss the baby, you fucked up, because he's just killing everything. Christopher Walken says in that movie, Creasy's art is killing, and now he's about to paint his masterpiece.
Right.
But
see, here's the whole problem with that. Fast forward to like 2008, and we have Taken. Now, Taken is not in one of my. Taken's a good movie.
Okay.
I'm not saying it's not.
But hold on.
This was first.
But pause though, because this movie did so much for the action genre
Yeah,
because
yeah, exactly,
it's
exactly.
a manly man killing motherfuckers, and he's doing it in a. I mean, some of the way that he eliminates his opponents in this film is genius. But that's 2004. 2005 was Domino. This movie, see, Tony Scott developed a signature style of super tight close-ups. Sometimes he used anamorphic, sometimes he didn't use anamorphic lenses, but he had this larger than life imagery. And then Domino was about bounty hunters and street people, and the whole with where the law enforcement and the street life come together, and the money making aspect that is the bounty hunter industry. So this movie was fantastic, especially like the titles. The opening titles are superb. Like I really like opening titles in a movie when they're done really well, and Domino excels at that. Dan
Yep, yep,
Mendel is a cinematographer who shot that. That's a gorgeous film. So that's Domino, and then after Domino, there was Deja Vu, another Denzel
yep.
Tony Scott movie. Denzel and Tony Scott did a lot of movies together. He's really the guy who put Denzel into the stratosphere with these action movies, starting with Crimson Tide. So then there was Deja Vu, which is a trippy sci-fi movie about time travel. So that was a trip. Like when he was driving in the Humvee and he had that headset that could look into the past while he was driving in the future, that was a trip. All right, so that was Deja Vu. After Deja Vu, he did, let's see, I believe he did one more. No, after Deja Vu, he did what's it called? He did no, he did Pelham 123. Dude, for what it's worth, the guy in Pelham 123 reminds me of you so much. It's this fat dude that works for the train, the subway system. You work
Railroad,
for the
the railroad.
railroad, but he works for the subway system, and he's in charge of a bunch of people. I'm like, I know who that guy is. I fucking
I
know
love
that
that guy.
guy. But it was a good movie. I liked it. But see, people tripped on Tony Scott because they said he made two train movies back to back with Pelham 123 in 2009, and in 2010 his final film was Unstoppable. If you like suspenseful action, one of his greatest films is Unstoppable. That movie takes a boring concept and it hypes it up 1,000%, and it does it in the best Hollywood Tony Scott way. That's a dope movie, man. Yeah, it's a really good movie. All right, so you said you wanted to jump forward from Man on Fire to Taken.
Okay, well, Taken's a good movie, but the point that
See,
you
but
made
see, Liam
was
Neeson is the white Denzel.
period, period. But the genre hadn't been messed with in years. Back in the day, you saw nothing but like movies like Charles Bronson movies, where where he's killing everybody and it's a one man army.
Death Wish.
And so Death Wish, yeah. And so, but he made a lot of movies like that, not just Death Wish. But the point being is that that genre dried up. Denzel brought it back. Him and Tony brought it back. And so you have Taken, then you have John Wick. Which is again, I thought the first one, all three are good. The first one's great though. And you got this movie of this man who's tormented. He's kicking ass. He's by himself. He's a good guy. That's the when I tell you when you see a good movie. I know a good year for movies. I remember I was in college and I saw all these movies at the same time. I saw one of them in the theater, which was Pulp Fiction. You told me it was a good movie. Had to go see that. But then I saw Usual Suspects and Fight Club on. I worked at the cable
Fight
company,
Club,
so I had free.
it made my skull explode. When I saw Fight Club in the theater, I was changed forever because it shook things loose subconsciously. I mean, the
It opened up
cinematography
shit.
was
It's like
gorgeous. It looked dirty and gritty, and it felt like you're in the basement of somebody's old ass house. It just gave you this old, dilapidated vibe. That the images of Fight Club have texture. They're not like
hold it,
they're not slick
hold it.
digital images that you see
No, no,
today.
no. There was another movie. Same person was in it. Seven. So when you Fight Club and Seven,
Oh, Seven came out
it's
before
visually.
Fight Club. Seven was
I
1995. And see, the thing about Seven, Seven was about a serial killer, but you could feel the room. You could feel the
you could touch.
set.
It was tangible.
Your
When you
mind
watch
could
it,
touch the walls in the room that they were shooting in.
fingerprints, the skin. You could
Remember the
feel. You
fat
could
guy
smell
who
it.
he died of sloth and he had all of
Yep.
those air conditioner,
Grapes on the
those
floor,
the air
on the
freshener
floor.
TV things. They were hanging. No, the air freshener Christmas trees were hanging in his apartment.
Oh, oh, he wasn't a fat guy. He was a guy that was a junkie, and he kept him alive by putting dope in him. And they had them things. They thought he was dead, then he breathes, and he's alive. Poor
Yeah.
bastard. Yeah. But the movie was visual, but you could actually. It's like you could
Yeah,
touch it. You could
texture.
actually touch the pictures. Yeah, and so that's what I mean when you say a great movie. Is like, even though you only have two senses that
But
can
see,
actually
this
detect
is the
what's.
thing though. Like between the 80s had tremendous movies, but the 90s took it to another level because the
Yes.
the 90s took the exposition of the 80s and it gave it more depth because you look at movies like Fight Club, you look at movies like Boys in the Hood, you look at movies such as whatchamacallit, Magnolia, or you had Three Kings. Dude, 1999 was a hell of a year for really good movies. There was just a string of good movies. See what was going on for people who don't have the historical context. The independent film scene exploded. It was very
Blew up.
easy for independent filmmakers to take a movie like Sling Blade and take it to an
Yep.
award show or a film
like like
festival
Con, like
and,
Con,
and go and
Con
sell
Film
it.
Festival
Dude,
opened up shit for everybody.
Sling Blade, people
I don't think so.
people either don't know about Sling Blade or they love it because Carl, that boy, my friend, the mustard and biscuits. He was a character who did not give a
Jack
damn.
Ritter,
Jack
Billy
Ritter
Bob
as
Thornton,
the little
John
silly
John
dude. John Ritter's a silly
John
dude.
Ritter.
You think about Jack Tripper and John Ritter, you're like merging the two. But
Well, yeah,
he was a
same
silly he
person,
was a
but you know
silly
what I'm saying.
dollar store manager that hit the little boy's mama work with. But Sling Blade, classic movie. There's so many good movies back then. Look at the Jet Li American movies. The one,
The whole I don't you know this. I don't like the whole movie, but I love the
the
ending.
ending.
When,
I'm
when,
nobody's bitch. This motherfucker is standing
when
on a
on a
pyramid.
mountain fighting the
Oh no,
planet.
on a
He's fighting the
pyramid
planet.
fighting everybody. It's like
Planet.
that's the hardest fucking image I've ever
Ending.
seen in every movie. Any movie.
It's like you watch the movie for that one scene. Okay, let me explain something. Again, as you could tell, we grew up on movies. But when in college, I started working for the cable company where I had free cable, like unlimited cable. I just anything was always on, all the adult pictures, everything. So, so you start watching pay per view, and so you start watching movies you wouldn't normally watch because you watched everything. I'm watched out. So all of a sudden, when you see these movies on pay per view, I'm like, there's some good shit going on, and so it rekindled my love for movies. Now, we really we really ain't talked about it, but I wanted where I want to go was the black exploitation. I remember seeing like Shaft a couple times on cable, but then something happened where Ice Cube had this movie called Black Caesar. I mean, it had a song called Black Caesar, or Burn Hollywood Burn. I
No.
smell a rat
Yeah.
going on.
Mm-hmm.
It's called.
Yeah. It's
And
Big
so,
Daddy Kane, it's Chuck D, and it's Ice Cube. Burn Hollywood Burn.
and so this song comes out, and I'm like, there's a whole genre called black exploitation. And I remember
See,
you and Brian had.
okay, this is the thing though. Like you were a little, you no, but see, you knew a little bit about that, but see, not as much. See, okay, me, I
No,
was
but see,
on that. I was
dad.
on that.
See, having a dad. See, that's what having a
See,
dad
my
does.
pops put me on that stuff early, so I was on. See, okay,
Hold it.
the
I
first movie.
remember his.
Hold on, the first black movie that I remember that had major black actors and black people with agency was Let's Do It Again. That was already an old movie when
Yes.
I was born. So when I saw this, I saw it on VHS with my daddy, and it would come on TV. And
The fight scene with Sidney Poitier and Bill Cosby, where Sidney he's in the movie and he does a backflip off the wall and kicks dude in the head.
Stuntman,
I tried that shit. I tried that shit over. I was like 8 years old trying that shit.
right?
But that's what having your dad did that for you. So
Yep.
I knew about some of the movies.
And then you had movies like Penitentiary. Dude, okay, let's just talk about this
Penitentiary
crazy
2.
shit
Hold up, Penitentiary 2.
with Mr. T.
Go ahead. I'm sorry.
So,
Yeah.
you watched Penitentiary with us. So Penitentiary 2.
Yep.
So the thing is that you had these black exploitation movies like Penitentiary, and then you had black exploitation movies like Body and Soul, and you see these strong black men and these sexy, beautiful black
Coffee.
women,
Like women.
with agency, that weren't, stepping and fetching, that weren't afraid. So these images create a sense of identity in a black child. We watch all these movies, man. We
We
watch,
love Foxy Brown. We love
and then
Paper
it was
Bear.
the black gangster movies I was watching with my dad. Also, Cotton Comes to Harlem, Across 110th Street. My dad's favorite scene from Across 110th Street is when they go to this. They go to the black characters. I can't remember what the name is, but they go to the Italian mob, who's their opposition, and this Italian dude's eating spaghetti, and the black dude reaches in his coat pocket and he takes his ear of one of like the Italian henchmen and he throws it in the guy's spaghetti. Shit like that. Shit like that. Seeing like brothers do shit like that, like in movies, is like, wow, this is crazy. Because
Okay. Okay. Here's a we had connections to those movies because, like I said, the song comes out, and I'm gonna give you an example of how powerful these soundtracks were because we were because Boys of the Hood, important movie, that started the new black genre craze, black film craze, and it started that, and all of a sudden you had Tupac, you had the rappers we were
but
listening
hold on,
to.
hold on, but stop, hold up. You had pimps and hoes in movies too, and
Oh yeah,
you had movies like The
I
Mac. You had
Dolomite,
Willie Dynamite
Dolomite.
and Dolomite. And see, I would see. Okay, I would go downtown. I would go downtown and like go around 24th Street, and on 24th Street you would see pimps and hookers. And my dad would take me to. We lived in the hood. See, people understand. Black people live
I'm
in the
black.
hood,
I'm black.
and then there's ghetto. So you have the hood, and then you have ghetto. And the ghetto you can't escape. The hood you might get some peace. So my dad would take me to the ghetto purposely to show me this is real poverty. You see them women over there standing on the corner selling their pussy? They are in that situation because of a lot of different things, but mostly because they chose to do that. Their life took these turns because life is choices. So I would see these characters on TV, and then I would go with my
Even in real
dad
life,
and
yeah.
see them in real life, and I'm like, oh shit! And there was a pimp that I would go and I would sit on his porch when I was a kid, and he would teach me things. And this was blocks from my house, so I would see these people on TV, and then I would meet people that were larger in life as a kid. So I had this strange
You
life.
identified with them.
But see,
You knew.
I had a strange. My life has always been really weird, where I'm the witness to many things that are large, cinematic, that are larger than life. My life is a movie, straight up and down. No bragging
It's
about
a
it.
script.
It is. I'm talking about from tragedy to the highlights to
Hold
the
it.
lowlights, everything. And the crazy part is, I identify with these things. I was able to pick this out and understand this because of my diet of cinema. I grew up. Duct Tape grew up on a steady diet of cinema, and these movies, these black movies that we were watching as kids, it did something to us. It did something to us and made us understand that, oh, this world is huge, but this world is not 100% peaceful. And there's people out here that want to suppress you just based off of the way you look.
It's,
So
but it's not as
respect,
complicated as people make
but
it. It's not
respect
as
yourself
complicated.
and love yourself so that you
Look,
can be a better fighter.
I got two funny stories about that. So I'm in college and I'm leaving this party. It's an old dude. He hired my boy Ethy. He's the one he got shot up at the Spaldings. But I'm in college and this dude, hey, y'all come here. I'm like, who's it? And I walk up on him. It's a pimp from Omaha. I forgot his name, but he knew us. He recognized us from Omaha. And he's like, yeah, man, I remember you used to play basketball at Fontana. Like, yeah, I was terrible.
Damn.
Dude, he knew me. This is a true story.
Hold on.
Another
What was the dude's name?
I can't tell you.
What was his street name?
I don't. It's been 20 years, but he knew me. He knew Ethy, and he recognized me from Fontana. And I'm like, holy shit, he was a pimp.
Yeah.
When I say pimp, I don't mean he had bitches. I mean he's a pimp as if that was his profession.
Yeah.
Another funny story. The Hammer, Fred Williamson. So my best friend that passed daddy, you hear me talk about him from time to time. So I go to Stillwater and this dude named Crazy Bobby's walking down the street, hooping, yelling at. He's like, "Hey, you know who that nigga's father is?" I'm like, "Who?" Fred Williamson. I mean, the Hammer. Yeah, I don't know where Fred Williamson went to college, but when they played Stillwater, he knocked some chick up in Stillwater, and of course never went back. So when we see these actors on the screen, we as black folks, you have a connection. There was a movie called 6 Degrees of Separation, and everybody knew. I can't think who it was. Everybody knew. Is it John Malkovich in the movie? Whatever. But the 6 degrees of separation in the hood is much smaller. It's more like 3 degrees of separation because you always hear about, hey, this person knows this famous person. And back in the day, you thought it was a rumor, but like Gabrielle Union, she's from Omaha. You, the black
Marlon Brando is
Omaha,
from Omaha.
Omaha is from Omaha. Hey, who's the most famous wrestler from Omaha?
I don't know.
Everybody says Mad Dog Vachon. No, Sting. The wrestler
What?
Sting was born in Omaha. He went to school out here. Oh, guess who went to Creighton Prep?
Who?
Ted DiBiase, the $1 Million Man.
Get the
Creighton
fuck
Prep.
out of here.
Yes.
Okay.
So our connection with the screen is different, and so that's why I said these pimp movies. People talk about the pimp killer pimp movies and hoes it, but the thing is that is a reality for somebody, and that's why those movies were so important. But like Richard Pryor told y'all, we don't even make more movies about pimping. White folks know how to pimp already. They've been pimping us for years. So when you heard that,
but check it out though. So then you had Boys in the Hood when that came out. You had this slew of street movies that started coming out, and I enjoyed a lot of them. But the problem is they tended to wallow in misery, and they never had any emotional uplift. They never had any solutions. And what you had was a movie industry and music industry that were profiteering on the misery of black people. But
hold it. Don't finish that. I remember when Boys in the Hood came out, and I was talking to my uncle, not my Uncle Greg, but my Uncle Kenny. I said, "Hey, Kenny, man, I want to go see this movie, this, and this, Boys in the Hood, black director." He's like, "Nah, I don't want to go see that." I'm like, why not, man? It's sport to black people, black power, black. He's like, "I lived it. I know how it ends. I don't need to go see that movie." He said, "When I go to movies, I go for escapism. I go to. I'm not saying to expand my mind, but I'm going to be entertained by something that I don't see every day." He broke that shit down to me. And again, I wasn't ready to understand it. A few years later, nigga, I get it. I've been shot at. I've been in situations I shouldn't be in. I've been through this. I've been like, hey, you know what? That shit was cute at one point. It ain't cute no more. Now, sometimes I do like watch those movies. I do like them. But sometimes I remember when, funny story. We ain't talked about Spike Lee yet, so let me jump on Spike Lee. Do the Right Thing was great, but School Days. So I see School Days, right? And so I'm talking about School Days, and the scene where you just a jigaboo, and my aunt's watching it like, oh, I can't watch this. I've been through this shit. She went to Langston. She went to the school I went to.
That movie was pretty much it was a term paper. It was a term paper for the Willie Lynch syndrome.
Black campus, the colorism, the this, the that, the pledging, the making, the abuse of women, the fact that, oh, you think you more than me. Sam Jackson was in that movie too.
He was the Atlanta guy, local Atlanta guy versus these pretty boy college dudes. And he's like, y'all think y'all better than us?
Big Daddy Long Stroke. and going to a black school, I saw the step show. I saw all those things. And so, like I said, again, this is my aunt. She was like, I don't need to see that movie. And I'm like, what? Black. Again, at that time, I'm super pro-black, but I'm also not super in the world yet. I haven't experienced that shit yet. I haven't went through that particular thing. And when you go through that particular thing a couple times, you don't always want to see it on the screen.
You're familiar.
But I'm not dissing those movies. Yeah, I'm very familiar. Now, let's talk about Spike. I don't know where you were going next. I wasn't trying to step on you, but if you're trying to go, I was going to say Spike. Do the Right Thing, good movie. School Days was better. Mo Better Blues, fantastic movie.
Malcolm X.
What's the one? Malcolm. Oh, that was too realistic. This is something that these kids don't know. Do you remember the argument when he cast Denzel as Malcolm? Because Larry Fishburne wanted the part, and Larry Fishburne took some pictures, and we was like, "How the hell are you going to pick Denzel over Larry Fishburne? Yeah. Larry Fishburne this, Larry
Fishburne would. But you know what? Hey, real talk though, Denzel is good at certain things, but I got to tell you, Lawrence Fishburne would have showed his ass with that role.
See, hold it again. Me and you had this conversation. But I remember
but we actually got a bit of satisfaction with this audiobook that he released, that he read Malcolm X for.
Narrated. Yeah. And so, but
hold on. I got to say something. Denzel did a good job, but this is the thing though. This is the thing. If anybody is watching The Godfather of Harlem, you need to watch that. If you haven't seen it, watch it. Watch The Godfather of Harlem. The actor who plays Malcolm X on that show is miles ahead and above Denzel in the Malcolm X movie. He is so good as Malcolm X on this show because he looks like him, he sounds like him, the way the guy moves his head when he talks. It's fantastic. Watch it. It's good. It's good.
Hold it. There's somebody. Y'all know Malcolm X is from Omaha. Go ahead, proceed.
Yeah, come on. That's like the champion of unsung champion Omaha. Like Bud Carter, we love you, but Malcolm X all day. So
all the way. So
okay.
Think about Spike. Drop score.
So I wanna wrap up. Let's wrap up the Spike part because I got a whole thing we got to go into.
So sometimes my biggest issue with Spike is Spike is not this great guy. He does good movies and he's a bit of a dick. But the thing about Spike is that he was making movies and, like he said, crowdfunding. He was doing shit on his own before there was a term for it. So I give him credit for that. Now let's move on.
So my first experience with martial arts movies, my first experience with foreign films was Bruce Lee.
Yep.
Enter the Dragon is my number one favorite movie of all time. That may come as a shock or a surprise to some of you, but it is. This movie is so good because it has a tremendous cast of characters. It has intrigue. It has action. It has international location. It has the greatest martial arts actor of all time, Bruce Lee. It has cool ass Jim Kelly in it. It has the greatest one-liner in cinematic history. Bullshit, Mr. Handman.
Handman.
Sully, Mr. Han, I want to leave you.
You coming right out of a comic book.
Man, you come right out of a comic book. So this movie introduced me to foreign films because once you see a Bruce Lee movie, you don't want to stop there. You want more. So I started watching more and more martial arts movies, more Bruce Lee movies, and I saw that the quality started drizzle off until you got to Shaw Brothers. Shaw Brothers were, outside of Bruce Lee, the best kung fu movies. Now I want to be very clear here because there's Chinese martial arts movies and then there's Japanese movies. Now, we grew up during the ninja craze in the 80s.
Yeah,
and I was all about that life. And so therefore, I dug so deep into this. I would go and I would rent at the video store Japanese ninja movies. And I started to notice things about the Japanese movies. The ninjas in the Japanese movies, their swords, their weapons, their uniforms, the set design, everything was elaborate because it's Japanese history. So I'm like, this Chinese stuff is garbage when it comes to ninjutsu. And so if I wanted to, wait,
don't forget your boy Sonny Chiba. Don't forget Sonny Chiba.
Yes, nigga, that's my lane. So
I know.
The thing is, so when you would watch these Japanese movies like Shogun's Ninja, Ninja Wars, Renegade Ninjas, you watch all these movies and you would see that, oh man, Samurai Reincarnation. You watch these movies and you see the quality level is bananas. First of all, Sonny Chiba he's a living legend because this guy, he would do his own stunts, number one. Number two, they weren't using wires. There was no wire work like you would see in Chinese kung fu movies. So these ninjas in these movies, they were jumping like 20 feet down out of a tree. You would see these guys doing actual jumps. So he started the JAC, Japan Action Club. And it was Sonny Chiba, Henry Sonata, and Tsuchiyomi. And so Sonny Chiba got famous from doing the Masoyama Street Fighter movies. It was based off of the life of Masoyama, the karate master. And then he went on, he started doing more stuff. But then he brought on a young guy, Hiroyuki Sanada, Henry Sanada, who got his start in the movie Shogun's Ninja. But Ninja Wars, ladies and gentlemen, if you want to trip without taking psychedelics, watch this movie. Because it's about ninjutsu, it's about sex magic, it's about 3 devil monks It's about a
Hmm.
demon named Kashin Koji. This movie is bananas, and I watched this as a kid. It warped my mind as a child. I'm watching a ninja story about demons and sex and martial arts. It was crazy. There's monks in there that can like spit vomit at your face. It'll coat your face and suffocate you. Crazy shit. These were anime things. We were watching anime in live
Live
action
action,
in
live
a
action anime.
movie. Yes, but it wasn't even a cartoon. It was real shit that you would see in Ninja Scroll 10 years later. So that's the whole Japanese thing. So the Japanese thing, I
Hold it.
got I got so deep into that. I taught
Yep.
myself how to speak Japanese from a book.
Look, hold it, hold it. Well, I want to segue into comedy, but
Hold
there's
on,
one
wait,
movie
wait,
that
wait, wait, wait. Before you go there, the reason why I brought up foreign films is because it was martial arts movies of Japan and China that that helped me to expand my palette for foreign films. So I started watching movies from Britain and the UK, and I'm talking about some weird shit, y'all. Like with cable, I was able to see movies like Tommy. If you ever seen this movie Tommy, it is so weird, so weird. It's like Clockwork Orange
Orange.
meets
Yep. Hmm.
meets meets Hair or meets Fame. It's weird. It's a weird ass movie. It's a musical. Tina Turner's in it, but it is so strange. And then I would see stuff like The Man Who Fell to Earth with David Bowie, who was the alien who decided to marry a Earth woman and live on Earth. Crazy ass movie. Or then there's movies like The Quiet Earth about these apocalyptic things that happen in Australia, and it wipes out everybody except for this Aborigine dude and this little girl. There's that movie. I would watch all Cinemax would just show crazy ass movies, and I'm not even talking about the Skinemax After Dark stuff. I'm talking about just the crazy independent films or foreign films you could
Yes.
watch on Cinemax. I mean, I will watch stuff.
Cinemax and the movie channel. Cinemax and the movie
Cinemax, the
channel will
movie
do that to
channel.
you.
Yeah. See, HBO was all about mainstream shit. You might get something
Showtime.
interesting in
Showtime HBO was
Showtime.
about the
But
mainstream.
see,
Yep.
Showtime would like after about 12 midnight, Showtime would show you crazy stuff. Cinemax, you can get it all day long. All day long. You know what I'm saying? Crazy shit. That and the movie channel. But that's what I'm saying though. So I started watching these foreign films and I started seeing like different ways of telling stories. Or I started seeing these movies
Yes.
that had long takes with no words, no dialogue.
But hold it. See that was the thing about Netflix. What I would do on okay first thing that got me into that shit that you're talking about, the foreign shit, was of course kid cable. But then I become an adult and we had you had the Bravo pack and there was an action channel and you would watch the action channel and it was just that. I saw all these Japanese movies with like Michael Jai White played the bad guy in one of them, and Michelle Yeoh was the heroine. She was some kind of superhero,
That's Chinese.
dope as fuck.
Yeah.
Was it Chinese?
Yeah,
Okay,
that's Chinese.
and there was another one. I can't think of the name. There was another one where
You talking about
at the
Wing
very
Chun? You
end.
talking about the Wing Chun movie that she did?
No. This is a different one. Different one. Because you're right. All these are Chinese. Because I remember they were Jackie Chan would direct one of them. Blah 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 blah. But there was another one at the very end. The airplane turns into a transformer like Skylinks. No
Mm-hmm.
bullshit.
That
So
is that is
so
that is
I
a Japanese movie. That's a Japanese movie
yeah,
about UFOs.
but hold it. But that movie was like 2001, 2002.
Yes.
So literally you would seek out foreign movies that you would normally watch. Storm Riders, yeah, breakthrough
Storm
movie.
Riders. Tell it.
Have you seen it? Yeah, that movie will
Really?
change your life.
Really,
But
buddy?
I started watching that movie because of that shit right there. Another one, oh fuck, it's a couple more movies like this where you watch them, they're like, oh
So,
shit.
okay.
you
When I went to film school in college, we watched a movie called La Jette or La Jetty. And it's a French movie. It's in black and white, and there's no motion in the movie. It's just still images with narration. And this is the movie that inspired 12 Monkeys. If you've never seen it, you can
yes.
go on YouTube and watch it, but it's really good. It's called La Jette. LA, second word, Jatte. Really, really good movie, but it's about how these people in this dystopian, messed up future send people back in time through speaking them out of their bodies back into the body of a person in the past. It's crazy. But yeah, 12 Monkeys
Look,
is Legetti.
hold it. Again, I don't want to leave this. without talking about there's thousands, billions of good movies, but these are the movies that like impacted us or that we just were like, oh, mind blowing. But of course, The Last Dragon. We loved it when we was a
Oh,
kid. I love it more now as an adult
yes.
because this white dude hit me up on Facebook and he said that movie has the best characters. Every every character in that
It's
movie is
larger than life,
interesting.
and they're interesting. It's the
Interesting.
hero's journey. It's the same type
Pop,
of
Papa
hero's
Papa
journey.
Green, Papa Green's Pizza.
Yes.
The Shogun of Harlem. Now here's something that
Sure
I've been trying to
enough.
tell people. Show enough, the Shogun of Harlem, but the first Shogun in Japan was black. The argument is that the reason that there's an argument is because the word Shogun did not exist when he was a Shogun. So the first, it gets, I can't think of his name. Onomaru, I can't remember that guy's name. Screw it. But bottom line is this: that movie slash comedy love story, whatever you want to call it, it was such a complete story. But the
You know
characters,
why
Bruce Lee,
I'm really upset that Chadwick Boseman is dead because he was gonna play Yasuke, the first black
Black Samurai,
Japanese samurai.
Japanese, yep.
Dude,
It's it's so hard to talk about this, but I think the best comedy movie of all time. You hear goofy motherfuckers say Caddyshack. You hear goofy motherfuckers say this, but the two of the best comedy movies. Number one, Blazing Saddles, which you heard me mention earlier.
but
Mel Brooks was always ahead of his time.
you can say that. Hold your second one, but I want to stay in foreign for a second because Snatch is an excellent foreign film and it's an excellent comedy movie. Go ahead.
Yeah, yeah. Look, Blazing Saddles it makes fun of race because it shows how preposterous racism, bigotry, white supremacy is. Because okay, we'll take the niggers, but we, in the Chinese, but we don't want no Irish. This is the white man. So I heard you was hung. You heard right. Look, the whole movie but it makes fun of the fact that there's a black sheriff and motherfuckers didn't want him, but he's the most qualified. All this shit. So that movie is fucking hilarious. One-liners, long jokes, whatever is in that movie. Of course, Coming to America is one of the funniest motherfuckers. That's why they're doing that's why they revisiting it. But people forget. What drives me crazy about comedies and something that somebody else said because with the onset of superhero movies, some of these superhero movies are great, but people act like they talk down of them on them because they're comic book movies, and I'm like sometimes
Yeah, but those
there's
people are
some great perform.
snobs.
Of course they are, but it's just like when you read a comic book, people say that's just a comic book. No, I remember. I, what's the comic book we stole that same day we saw motherfucking Lion King? It was a Wolverine Weapon X
Wolverine
comic.
Weapon X.
It was a complete book of the Weapon
It
X,
was a graphic
and
novel.
Barry Windsor Smith was the writer of the anime or whatever,
Yep.
and you would look, and so you would see this. So the whole idea that a comic book movie can't be awesome or great or have well acting, and we see that of course with Heath Ledger because hell, in that movie you wanted to see the Joker. Whenever Batman came on the screen, you got pissed. So whichever Batman that was, Dark Knight, whatever, excellent movie. I remember what you loved about it was it was shot in that HD whatever, and you was like, "Hey, Rand, you got to go see it on the big screen because you're gonna appreciate this." That's what make these movies make you relive the experience. Sometimes, even though my first experience was so good, I can watch that movie later on cable or whatever and still get goosebumps, still have a physical reaction because these movies are so great and they stay with you. The experience stays with you. There's no excuse. And I get it. Not everybody's into movies, but everybody knows one or two movies that really fucked them up or fuck with them. And that shit, it shows how good the storytelling
The
is. That's what these
Matrix,
foreign movies, especially these.
Fight Club, They Live, so many. Usual Suspects, a lot of movies. A lot, and see, that's the power of
The
cinema.
storytelling is dope.
It transports you to another place. It manipulates your thinking in a way that takes you out of your everyday thoughts because before you walked into
Makes
that
you care about people you don't care about.
because before you walked into that movie theater, you might have had a fucked up day, you might have had an argument with your spouse or whatever. You might have got fired from your job. You go into that movie theater, you go on a journey and it resets your temperament. You come out from that alternate reality back to your reality and you can deal with the bullshit that's in your life.
look, it's not just entertainment. It's a drug. It helps you through life.
It's
It
our
gets you through
modern
situations.
mythology. It's so many things. It's therapy. It creates a conduit for creativity.
Look, it's divine. When you create a movie, you, you're taking these aspects from nothing and putting them together to make something, and you're manipulating it, and you're showing your point of view, and that's why it's so crazy when they have these other directors do the same movie and like, oh, this, or they have the editor edit it differently. It's the same footage, same footage, but it's like completely different arrangement, a completely different story, or it.
And then also,
Look,
I want to say this also. For those people that like to stay in one lane and only watch like one type of movie, you're really dumbing yourself down. You need to go out and branch out and explore different types of movies that you haven't watched before. Watch a black and white movie called The Seven Samurai. It is a really good movie about not just one hero's journey, but seven heroes together that are fighting against something. And that you will see was used and copied many times in Hollywood for the Magnificent Seven. So
over and over. Yep.
over and over. But see, movies do that though. They take you away and they transport you and they teach you things. Don't watch the same types of movies over and over. You got people who say, "Oh, I can't watch foreign films because of the subtitles." What? Come on, man. I want to read and watch a movie. Stop saying things like that.
Uh,
You know what? Don't say it out loud anymore, because that makes you sound like a mouth breathing horse's ass. Don't say words like that again to anybody, because you sound real dumb.
look, the point we're trying to make. Um, the other day we had talked about the Mandalorian, and we had talked about it
Uh,
between sets. And like I said, I was at work when I watched it. I shouldn't have been at work, but I'm at work. I'm watching it. I shouldn't have been watching it. And all of a sudden, I began to cheer at work, and I had to catch myself. I was like, "Oh shit, I know who that is." So I sat there and watched it, and so I was like, "This is fucking dope." They pulled out Luke Skywalker, who they
and
should have been pulling out before.
exactly. And by using Luke Skywalker in this story, in the way they use Luke Skywalker in the story, it fixed so many things that were wrong with the way Disney had took the original trilogy and warped it, and
Wiped their ass with it and
they
handed it
wiped
back
their
to you.
ass with it, and it completely dogged the fans out. And John Favreau is a guy who gets it. He grew up with the original trilogy. He's like, yo, I'm gonna use OG Luke Skywalker in the best way and what he is known for doing, and that's kicking ass. And he shows up and he just murks all of those Death Troopers, and he makes it effortless in his execution. And
Didn't
as
break a sweat. My
a
nigga didn't break a
child,
sweat.
the child inside me was going crazy watching this. And the crazy part about it is nobody online and social media hated on it. Nobody
See,
had anything to say.
that that's okay. Two things, well, three things happen. This shows you how things are united, how people actually love each other. All you hear about, people don't care about each other, don't love each other. You don't wear a mask. That's all bullshit. On Facebook, nobody would give the reveal. All they would say, it was fantastic. You need to watch it. Nobody did a spoiler.
Because you know what that
No
was? That
fucking
everybody was a
respect,
8-year-old kid
love.
in school again, and they're like, "Yo, you got to see this," because they wanted you to be surprised.
They
Didn't
wanted you to have the same feeling they had. They wanted
they
you to
didn't want that to be
experience the
stolen
way
from. They
they
knew
did.
like this year has been shit. This is gonna make you happy. You are gonna be real happy when you watch this. And see, that's cool, man. Like, it was a win for so many people that had a fucked up year. You know what I mean? Like, you might have lost your job or whatever, and for a moment, righteousness and justice ruled, and everything was cool for a second there, on the most
Not,
basic level.
do not know what love looks like. That's what love looks like. When people sat there like, I want you to be surprised like I was. I want you to have a genuine reaction. And here's the other, a bunch of people that we went to grade school with. They're like, man, I almost cried, or I cried. People said they cried because of
I know.
Grago going away, and I'm like, I didn't feel it at all. All I
I
know is I saw
didn't.
a Nick with a black glove.
Listen, like Grogu going away, okay, whatever. When I saw Luke Skywalker, That's what got
The
me
nigga
out.
with the black glove.
Listen, that got me in my feels. I was all up in the feels when I saw that. If you wanted to get me in the
I was
feels,
tingling, nigga.
there you
I was
go.
tingling, my nigga.
There you go. That was it. Oh man, I saw that black glove and the green lightsaber. I was like, oh shit.
No rapper can rap quite. Look, I can't. I just got hyped. You know what I'm saying?
Daddy's home, bitches. Daddy's home.
I digress. Look, what we're saying is that there's all kinds of great movies out there, and what you consider a good movie, I might not consider a good movie.
Don't matter. It doesn't matter.
Like,
you like what you like. That's cool, man.
Share it with me. Give me a heads up. I might go check it out. I like Django.
Got crazy shit. I got all kind. I can name a handful of movies that'll fuck your head up. Holy Mountain, El Topo, Beyond the Black Rainbow, Mandy, Requiem for a Dream. We didn't even talk about that movie. Requiem for a Dream is such a bananas, crazy ass movie that you get what those people are going through because you have been at some point in your life where you were on the edge between some crazy shit and between crazy shit and sanity. Requiem for a Dream is such a fucked up movie. You need to take a bath on the inside after you watch that movie. And then you spring from that to a movie that came out last year, Uncut Gems. If you have ever been in a situation where you got to raise a whole lot of money in a short amount of time, you will really dig Uncut Gems.
You'll understand it. The first black exploitation movie was what Sweetback's Badass Song, and I remember your dad had the soundtrack. So I heard the soundtrack before I ever saw the movie. And first things first, the movie's rated X because he's fucking a white bitch on set. If when you go find this movie, you don't get the cut version, get the X-rated version because he's in a biker bar fighting with these motherfuckers and he starts fucking a white bitch it happens. So I go to Roscoe's house and he's like, I want to show you some of my dad's records. And he has this album and he shows me this song. It's a 27-minute James Brown song. The song is 27 minutes. I'm not making this up.
That song is from the Hell album. Y'all need to go and check out the James Brown Hell album.
That song's from the Hell album, but that song is also on that soundtrack. Because you busted that soundtrack, and the cover is like vivid, and you start playing it, and the song is long as hell, but you don't get bored. You don't get distracted. You listen to the whole song. Lenny Williams and I Love You. That song is like 9 minutes long. It's like that. How can you listen to a 9-minute song? Easy, motherfucker.
But see,
that's
the thing about cinema, though. There's the dialogue, there's music, and then there's the sound design. People will watch a movie that has shitty imagery, but they cannot watch a movie that has shitty sound. The soundscape of a movie is really important because, you have keys, shaking, on a character who has like keys in their hand, and anybody who knows anything about sound design or like Foley or VFX, they know that some guy afterwards, after the frame was shot, took the footage into a studio, and then he had a bunch of weird things, weird sound effects, and he re-recorded the sounds. Like, for example, there's a sound of there's the movie A Quiet Place. That movie, A Quiet Place, is so good. It's sci-fi and it's horror. It's some of the best sci-fi and horror in a long time. But the creature, the aliens, have this weird, stretchy, muscular body. And I saw the behind the scenes of how they recorded that sound effect. Somebody they took some celery and they were twisting the celery. And the twisting celery was the sound of this alien's joints as they would walk around the room. It was crazy.
That's disgusting.
Yeah.
I remember saying the same thing. They kind of showed you the example of how music makes a scene or makes a movie.
Oh.
And they were showing the Empire. They were showing the Empire Strikes Back with and without music. They showed the scene where Leia goes to Han Solo. I love you. I know. And they showed it without music, and it was like fucking dry. But then they show it with music. I love you. I know. It freezes ass. And it was like
it was some Gone with the Wind shit. It was some Gone with the Wind type of shit.
it evokes a
Emotion.
reaction in you, an emotion, because without the music, it was just I don't know. I can't put my finger on it. It just didn't snap. You know what I'm saying?
Hmm.
So
I mean,
the
look for
process of
example, Superfly. The soundtrack to Superfly, and then you watch it with the music, and it all works well.
Curtis Mayfield was a genius. Isaac Hayes, genius. These people, you hear the names, but I think what people don't understand until you, here's what fucks an artist up. There's their hits fuck you up. Okay, do you understand what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Because you know these people for these hits, but going to your dad's
The
collection
B
and listening to
sides.
whole albums, going to my cousin's collection and listening. Here, my dear, the album that Marvin Gaye did for his ex-wife. So his ex-wife was like, "Fuck it, I want some money. I got a kid by you." Blah blah blah. And so he says, "Here, my dear," and he writes a whole album about how much he can stand her. But the fact is this: that the B sides, as my brother was just telling y'all, is what y'all need to listen to, because sometimes you don't know how good an artist really is. Um, uh, BB King has an album called I think it's a Ghetto Woman or Girl, something like that. And that album is fucking dope. Bobby Blue Bland, we all know him, but he had another song,
And
"Ain't No
so,
Love in the
so
Heart of the City."
right. And so sound and music are a integral part of a good film. But I want to say that having a good collection of movies is important. And here's the reason why.
I don't know about that,
Uh,
but I agree.
this is what I what I'm gonna say. You fucking idiot. What I'm gonna say is that it's cool, man, because you can, well, listen, whether it's on your a hard drive or whether it's
Yes,
CD or DVDs or Blu-rays or even Laserdisc if you're, a weird beard.
yeah,
You
yeah.
you need to have a collection of movies that you can actually like spin through and pick a winner, because movies are like music. Sometimes, it's the dead of winter and you look outside and it's bone cold, there might be snow on the ground. Man, I'm gonna watch The Thing. That's perfect timing to watch The Thing because it couches you in that world at this Arctic research laboratory. It puts you in that mood. There's certain and
Yeah, yeah. It was weather
there's certain
honesty.
um movies that are great for rainy days, and some of these movies, happen to be a movie like Seven or Dark City. Dark City is a hell of a rainy day movie, or The
Uh,
Matrix. But there's certain movies you gotta have a good collection to dip into. I mean, I don't care if you
but
gotta like have a separate storage space for
but
these movies.
but some of these movies, hold it. Some of these movies are just for you. You got to
Yeah.
understand, just
Oh yeah.
because you have these
Preach.
movies, they ain't for nobody else. For instance, when Blockbuster was closing, and they would have a shitload of movies that nobody else had, so I'll just walk in there and buy them. So I got the first Punisher on DVD, Dolph Lundgren Punisher. I got that. I used to like.
Excellent.
Yeah, I'm again a nerd. Masters of the Universe, Dolph Lundgren. I
Dude,
got
I
that.
got all
You
kind
know
of
what I'm saying?
movies that I don't show to other people because a lot of the people that I know probably wouldn't watch these movies. Like for example,
Good for me.
I got a
Good for
foreign
me.
movie. It's called Head On. It's a Turkish movie about a green card marriage. I like it. That shit's fucking dope. It's there's no see in emotional movies, excuse me, in foreign movies, there's no emotional uplift. They don't give a shit about your feelings. They're like, this is the story.
Hey, there was a movie like that. Was it Los Perros or what? Life's a Bitch,
Life's a
something like
bitch.
that.
Yeah, Amoris
Yeah,
Perros.
the Brazilian one. Yeah, yeah.
Mexican.
I got that. It's just like, look, don't nobody win. You just don't die. You know what I'm saying? it, and I remember there was a format where I could just put the DVD in my computer and I could show it, and I had this channel. It was a complete black exploitation channel, and I call it Kill Whitey or Spirit Show. I had all these different channels, and I would play all these different movies, and people, black and white, was like, "Hey, play that again." I'm like, that was some racist shit I just played. I would buy these, like the racist movies, or hey, another movie that brought Jet Li out. Remember The Mask came out like in 92,
Yes,
93.
the
Was in high
mask.
school.
That shit was fire. That was not, no, that was like 97, 98.
No, okay. One of them came out. Came out of high school, and it was the first time we really saw Jet Li. But it was kind of like Romeo Must Die. It had a hip hop vibe to it.
Yes. Okay. Now see, this is the crazy part. Like my homeboys and them, they'd only seen the version without the hip hop. I showed them the hip hop version. They're like, "Yo, this is a totally different movie. This shit is fire." I'm like, "Yes."
Yes. So they never saw the one with all the hip hop music in it.
No,
That's
they
fucked
never saw
up.
that until I hit them with the tape. I was like, "Watch this shit," and they're like, "Damn." Cause like man, that part at the end where like he's fighting that dude and they're holding his breath and like it's just like a DJ scratching the drum beat like over and
Yep.
over. Like man, that shit is fire.
Look. Okay. First things first. Let's sprinkle a little anime. I know we got to wrap it up, but sprinkle a little bit anime on here. I remember the first anime that you got was that you had ordered, and you was like, "Hey, Ren, you got to check it out." Was Ninja Scrolls. Now you was heavy
Actually,
into Japan.
no. That's not. The first
That,
one,
that, that's the first one you showed. No, hold it.
Star
That's the first one you
Blazers.
showed
Star
me.
Blazers is the one of the first ones I ever saw. And then one of the first ones that I owned was a Japanese ninja anime called The Dagger of Kamui.
I didn't like that one. You didn't show that one to me. You show you when you got Ninja Scrolls. You
How
called
you
me
gonna
to your
say I
base.
didn't
Like, hey,
like that
come over here
one?
right
You
now.
didn't show it to me. What the fuck are you
Yeah,
saying?
you didn't show it to me. That's how it wasn't. It ain't again. This is about evoking emotions. And when you got that, when you pop,
But
it wasn't DVD. So
Ninja
you
Scroll
pop
hits you right in your third eye.
you still can watch. See, that's the whole the rewatchability. It's
Hold on. The
there.
fact that he was trying to eat that chick's pussy and he was getting poisoned while he was eating her pussy and didn't even realize it. And I was like, what? Crazy.
The other one, the other one. Remember, Dark City was like that. Remember, the old man was sucking on her titty and oh, I tasted something. Oh, I'm not pregnant. All of a sudden, he had that damn worm or something. Trust me, anime is fucked up now.
Oh, Wicked City. Wicked City, you talking about.
Wicked City. And so, Wicked City is basically Men in Black before there was Men in Black. So these guys are running around with these big guns, little guns, shooting people up, stopping demons and shit.
Vampire Hunter D.
But I was going. I saw Vampire
Bruh,
Hunter D first.
hold on a second. Wait. We've been watching anime since Transformers. Just didn't, call it anime.
For the record.
But
For the record,
but
yes.
then there was
Voltron.
Robotech.
See, we didn't have it here in the Midwest. I didn't see Robotech. New
Voltron,
York.
then Robotech.
Yep. And so you got to understand. Okay, I remember like watching Voltron the Lions was so dope, and then they came out with the ones with cars, and I'm like, man, there's like 23 cars, nigga. How you gonna get 23 people at the place? Man, this is stupid, nigga. I used to get mad at that shit. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, you can't drive in space, nigga. What kind of shit is this? We all know a lion can fly in space, but a car can't drive in space. You're
Flying lions
nigga.
are cool, man, but cars, now you've gone too far.
Oh no, man, no, nigga. I remember when they had the knockoff Orbots. Remember they had the Mighty Orbots?
That was 1984.
Five? I thought it was
85,
I
yeah.
bet-
The Mighty Orbots.
And so you had
Silverhawks.
this. See, Silverhawks
Thundercats.
was later, but
Thundercats.
we all
Come on.
bring it. And so you would watch these things, and it would introduce you, like you said, to foreign cinema. So then you all of a sudden you have this anime, this Japanese animation that was geared for adults, and the situations like the worst one to watch.
Guyver.
If you guys are gluttons for punishment, it's gonna blow your mind, disgusting. But you got to watch Legend of the Overfiend. The first one, the second one is shitty, but the first one, if you watch that first one, if you could find a copy of that, you're only going to be able to find it on porn sites. You can't find a copy of that anywhere.
That's just like
that shit get you arrested.
some of those movies that came out of Japan, it was just nerd porn. Nerd like brain porn. That's all it was.
It showed you how repressed these people were.
Yes.
Because how could you draw that? If you could, the shit they drew. Okay, Legend of the Overfiend. This nigga starts growing, and he has like 26 penises that destroyed Japan, and he's nutting on people, killing them, turning them into demons and shit. So when I say 20, did I tell you he was like 3 stories tall? And so you're like, how could you draw that many penises? I don't think I've probably drawn 2 penises my whole life, and I put it on somebody's book to piss them off. They left.
But here's the thing, though. So you
Who
had
the fuck
that
draws
in
penises for a
anime,
living?
but then American cartoons were like for adults were like heavy metal or rock and roll.
Yeah.
Or stuff like that, like Felix the Cat, like that was the like Ralph Bakshi.
Ralph Bakshi.
Ralph Bakshi, like American adult animation and stuff. But we say all this to say that if you listen to this and what we've been talking about, we talk about these wide range of movies, and we come
Period.
up on a lot of different kinds of movies. It's so much out there to explore and to check out, and some of it is worth your while, some of it is not. But you have to watch the movie to find out, and don't go and look for spoilers. No, don't be that person that's asking what's gonna happen next. Is he gonna get shot? Is she gonna jump out the train while it's still going? You gotta watch it. You gotta watch it. And you gotta figure out. And guess
Experience
what?
it.
And sometimes you gotta read the subtitles. Okay, mouth breathers. You gotta read the subtitles and follow along with what's happening. But
Hold it, hold it. Don't forget, one of the best comic book movies is still Flash Gordon. Any of y'all niggas go put Flash Gordon in right now? Soundtrack is dope. That's Queen. You got motherfuckers acting. You got secret societies. You got Masonic symbols all over. That shit is dope because it makes you think. I can watch it now and still pick up shit I didn't pick when I was 7 years
parallel
old.
realities.
That's how you fucking do that shit. Yes.
So yeah. So
Uh,
basically, what we're saying is expand your horizons when it comes to the cinema that you consume, because it can do a lot for you. It can help you to temporarily escape a fucked up situation. You know, it can help to reset your thought patterns and bring you back to your baseline so you can deal with your life or whatever's going on with you. And it can inspire you artistically in so many different ways. But there's a lot of good cinema out there to enjoy. So just expand your horizons and go start digging in the vaults, because there's so much to enjoy. Current generations are now really getting into what, like, so the movies from the 80s. Like my nephew, dude, I put him on to Inner Space with Dennis Quaid and Martin Short. We watched
yep,
that
yep.
on Christmas Eve. Man, he loved it. There's so much cool stuff that you can go back and
It
watch. When you get tired of watching Netflix, when you get tired of watching all this made for TV stuff, all this stuff that's just like, streamed, and like, watch some old movies. Watch old movies, man, and you'll see beautiful stories and gorgeous
TMC.
cinematography.
Yes, yes, yes.
You see top shelf acting. You'll see like the movies of Orson Welles, and you know, it's just there's so many like good old films to watch. I mean, not even just the
Alfred Hitchcock. Don't forget Alfred Hitchcock.
Alfred Hitchcock. There's just so much stuff, man. So just go
A
out and
fucked
just
up
check it
movie to
out.
watch is that Strangers on a Train where they exchange murders. These two niggas meet on the train.
Yeah,
Hey, would you kill my mom? Would you kill my wife? That's dope. No, it's
right,
not. It's dangerous. It's fucked up. But
right. Or gaslighting. Gaslight, where this guy's completely fucking with this lady's mind by lying to her and hyping her up. It's a complete MK Ultra mind fuck, and it's in black and white. There's so many good movies. Then you got movies that are about race relations, about people who don't want to accept who they are. They want to hide their true ethnicity. An Imitation of Life.
imitation of life. Yep.
There's
Go ahead.
so many
Preach.
good movies. Then you have movies with like a really crappy concept. Like there's a movie with James Earl Jones and I think Diane Carroll, and it's about her being on welfare, hiding her man
Yep.
from the social
He
worker.
can't live there. He
hmm
can't be there.
And so it's a strain on their relationship because she wants to keep getting welfare because she got all these kids. They don't address the fact that she got all these damn kids, just the fact that she want to keep this man. I believe it's called Florentine, or it's the name of the movie escaping me.
Florentina, some shit like that. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Look, here's a point. What these things do is give you perspective that you didn't have before. And I know it's entertainment. I'm not saying it's real or not. But like we told you earlier, the reason it's real to us because we knew those people. We connected with those people. We physically knew some of them. So you give them perspective. You give them some hypotheticals, but it gives you a chance to learn about something without having to go through it. And that's the whole thing. It's like there's an Ethiopian proverb that you offer somebody advice, if they don't take it, experience will teach them. That's how you get to learn about shit
That's
that you don't have to
that's
go through.
an African way of saying a hard head makes a soft behind.
Makes a soft ass. And so, like I said, and some of the movies I like. Like, I know we got to wrap it up, but
Hold
let
on,
me tell you this. I got like
dude, I'll go to the movies all the time by myself because I don't want a person asking me questions.
influencing me.
I don't.
Hey,
I don't.
I have three.
I don't want a person telling me I don't like this. Can we leave, bitch?
Oh fuck!
No, I paid for
Look.
all this. We're gonna watch this whole movie.
I got three categories. I got for movies. I got good, bad, and entertaining. So just because a movie's good doesn't mean I'm
And
entertained.
Nicolas
Just because a movie's
Cage,
bad,
Nicolas
but
Cage is in each one of those categories.
entertaining. I can love Better Off Dead. That's one of them terrible teen movies.
But
It's
it
a
has
shame
a
to throw away a perfectly good white boy like that.
exactly. When you
But
got
that movie
lines like
is
that in the movie,
you can't have it. How about Ice Pirates? Remember Ice Pirates?
dude.
What about Ice Pirates?
Back to the Future. Come on, man. Like there's so many good movies out there. I mean, there's just so much. And then
Bad News Bears.
when you start
You can't
digging,
make that no more.
you got to go down the side streets. Don't go down the main streets. Go down the side streets in the video store of your mind. Okay, that's where you
It's
got
like
to
eating a
go.
pork chop. You got to suck that gristle out. You got to get. Sometimes you find shit in the side streets. Sometimes you find shit and it's in there. You like suck it out. And you're like, oh, that was pretty good.
A
That's how
good website to go to like to look for like movies that are like kind of unknown is WarnerBrotherArchives.com. They have a huge catalog. Buck and the Preacher, the Richard Pryor.
Oh, yeah.
That movie is in there. Yeah, a black cowboy movie.
Bingo Long's Traveling All Stars.
Yep. The Killers of Sheep. The Killer of Sheep. It's a black independent film about being poor in South Central Los Angeles in the 70s. Watch that movie. It's in black and white. Really good movie. Killer of Sheep. There's so many movies like that. Daughters of the Dust is a black movie about the Gullah Geechee people of South Carolina.
South Carolina, yep.
Mm-hmm. So many movies out there.
Kumbaya.
Dude, you have
yeah.
Akira Kurosawa who makes tremendous movies. He made The Seven Samurai. He has a movie called Dreams. And they're all these weird, etheric, ghost story, Japanese, bananas concept movie themes. Watch that. Watch Dreams by Akira Kurosawa.
Hold it. Before we go, let me talk about a bad movie. So I watched Wonder Woman 88. Now, it's not terrible.
84.
But I felt like 84. It sucks, okay?
I liked it.
It doesn't matter how big
but
the problem
the problem is that the movie studios fucked with it, and she talked about it. So what I want to see is the director's cut of that movie.
I want to see the director's cut. Now, here's my issue with the movie. One, it felt like they went backwards with this movie. You remember the Ang Lee Incredible Hulk, where they didn't have a true villain, and that's how it felt with the whole the stone and this, that, and other, and you're gonna get cheated to the very end. You don't like that shit. The reason we like these new movies now is because you got to.
The first movie was legit. The first Wonder Woman movie was legit.
Loved it. But you got a clear cut villain, and she had to fight somebody her equal. That kind of shit. You like that? Just for the record, that first Incredible Hulk that everybody talks about, I loved it. I liked it.
A masterpiece because it's like you're watching a comic book that's
comic
moving.
Book. Yes, if you read comics, you're going to get it. Now, again, they had the absorbing man, Nick Nolte, who's from Omaha, went to Benson High School. And so you have this situation where you don't have a clear-cut villain. You don't have the Hulk fighting somebody. And they had some dogs and they're big fucking deal. But that's the whole thing. Back then, when the whole comic book craze was starting, they could not afford to have two villains. I mean, a hero and a villain, because we got to spend so much money on this, that, and other, blah, blah, blah. But that's how you felt in this Wonder Woman. Is like, man, dude, I want it like I got. You guys spoiled me already. We don't need this abstract bullshit. You know what I'm saying? So I hope they release another version, like this whole singer version is supposed to come out of Justice League, because that shit right there.
Snyder version of Snyder Cut.
Oh, Snyder.
And it is. That's coming out next month on HBO Max. And it's gonna be 4 parts. That shit's gonna be fire. He went out and shot extra footage to make it even better. So that shit's gonna be fucking dope.
Look, I know we got to wrap it up. Look, I love y'all. Please have a happy New Year. This is our New Year's show. We're sitting here in the bunker during New Year's doing this shit for y'all. We love y'all. We appreciate y'all. We made it through 2020. Don't get that vaccine. Take your vitamin D. That's not a sex joke. If you thought it was, it is, but it's not. Do what you're supposed to do. Spend time with your family and make money. Don't let money make you. Holla back.
Go see some dope ass movies. Go to the theater. Support your local cinema. Take your ass to a movie theater. Sit down in a dark theater and watch a movie with some strangers. Have some fun and visit a parallel dimension. We out. Peace.